Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Malak from the 12 Tribes United. Today we're gonna go over a little bit over the dietary laws of the Most High. Because when you hear this truth, you have to repent. And this is one of the first things you have to be taught. Leviticus 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them. So this is the Most High speaking to Aaron and Moses. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. So the Most High is telling the children of Israel, these are the beasts that you can eat. It said, Whosoever parteth the hoof and is cloven footed. What does that mean? To part the hoof? That means they have a hoof, and the part in the hoof is divided in half. It's cloven. It's the parting of Leviticus 11. And it's cloven footed. That means they have also an extra little toe there, but they have it's the shape of their foot. Divided the hoof. And cheweth the cud. What does it mean to chew the cud? To chew the cud means the animal basically, it eats the food, it regurgitates the food, and then it eats it back. It says, among the beasts that shall ye eat. So it has to have all three characteristics. Part of the hoof, cloven footed, and cheweth the cud. So nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. So these animals is going to mention, it doesn't have all the characteristics. As the camel, because he cheweth the cud. So a camel, it chews the cud, but divided not the hoof. It doesn't have a divided hoof. He is unclean unto you. So it has to have both characteristics. A camel is it's almost like a horse almost. It's like in the same family. You see a lot of the Arabs, they eat camels. And the camel is unclean. When the animal doesn't have when the animal doesn't divide the hoof, what happens is because they don't have that hard toe, sometimes parasites end up crawling up in the animal and jacking up the animal. But the camel, we're not to eat that, even though it's a vegetarian. And the coney, what is the coney? It's a type of rabbit, because he cheweth the cud, but divided not the hoof. He is unclean unto you. So a coney is a type of rabbit, and the hare, which is another type of rabbit, because he cheweth not the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. So rabbits are unclean. They're basically like big fat rodents, like rats, basically, with long ears. That's the difference.
Oh, you're recording. I didn't even know you were recording.
And the swine, because he divided not the hoof, and be cloven footed. So the swine is talking about what you call pork, a pig, any type of pig, wild boar, pink pig.
Puerco.
All of those things, they're all different types of pork. There's different types of names for them, different type of pigs. They have the big hog, which is 500 pounds. That's a pig too. All right. This is the animal that a lot of our people are caught up into, because the slave masters, when they enslaved us, the Spaniards, the French, they brought their animal to the Americas. So the pig is not made to be eaten. So I'm going to run down a list. Sausage, bacon, anything made out of pork. Certain types of gelatin, glycerin, monodicglycerides. These things, sometimes they have pork in them. All right? So you got to look at these ingredients. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. So we're not to even touch these animals. These shall ye eat of all that is in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers shall ye not eat. So it has to have fins and scales. It can't have one characteristic in another and not another. Like a catfish, that's unclean. A swordfish is unclean because they don't have both characteristics. The examples of the clean fish, I'm not gonna name them all, but I'm gonna name examples: tuna, salmon. What do you call that?
Sardine.
Yeah, sardines, anchovy, mackerel, snapper, whiting. Those are examples of fish that are clean. Fish that are unclean: shark, whale, and so forth and so on. Swordfish, catfish. Those are examples.
Lobster.
Well, lobster is not a fish, but it's a water. A lobster, all the shellfish, the shellfish especially, they're unclean because they don't have fins and scales. They're not even fish at all. Like lobster, crab, shrimp, those are unclean, and they're basically water insects. They're not. They're not really. They're not fish. They're basically clams. They're made to clean the bottom of the ocean. They eat dead stuff. They eat the feces of other animals. Animals that die in the sea. They get eaten by these things. All right, that's what they do. The shrimp, lobsters have a good old time when something dies up in there. That's why you don't see dead fish hardly up in there. They eat them. All right. So those are examples, and I'm gonna tell you this, that the stuff that's in these creatures, these shrimps and lobster scale. I mean, the stuff that's in their shells, that's basically their manure, their feces. So when you see people cracking open these crabs and they eating the brown stuff, that's feces. That's dung. That's what that is. Now people love it so much, that brownish black stuff in the crab shell. All right, that's where they store their waste at. That's why when they eat shrimp, they take off the shell and they clean it out, because that's what that is. That's basically doodle. I don't want to keep the words as or away from certain so-called curse words, so I'm gonna say what it is, but I still have to tell you what it is. All right. It says poop, yeah. And it says, all that will have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, and all that move in the waters, and of any living thing that is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. All right. So, another one is caviar. We're not supposed to eat that. Octopus, and so forth and so on. It says, they shall be an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses an abomination. So their carcasses even is an abomination. Whatsoever have not fins and scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. So once again, it's telling you, not if it don't have fins and scales. And they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls, they shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle. Why is the eagle an abomination? Because the eagle, it basically eats dead stuff, and it eats rats, mice, and even eat a small dog or a cat if it's big enough, if it's small enough for it to grab it. And the ostrich and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after its kind. A vulture is basically eats stuff that's dead. If something is decaying, it eats it. Every raven after his kind. So a raven even is unclean. And the owl. What is an owl? Another scavenger. Owls pick up rats and mice and eat them. And the night hawk. A hawk is like an eagle. And the cockatoo. And the hawk after its kind.
Tell them all those television shows on TV show you to eat everything, huh?
Yeah, they got these television shows. People eat exotic meats, and it's all kind of crazy stuff.
From all over the world.
Yeah, people eating rats and all this other stuff.
And the celebrity cooks, tell them how disgusting they look, their bodies.
They overweight. Their face looks jacked up. What's the other one? What's related to an eagle and a hawk and an owl? There's another animal that's not mentioning, but it says after its kind. A falcon. A falcon is basically another bird of prey. All right? It's the fastest bird in the world. 200 miles an hour it can fly, and it grabs whatever it got to grab.
Tell them if you was to eat the right foods, you wouldn't have problems like Oprah Winfrey that's always getting fat, Rachel Ray. All these people, they eat the right foods. They'd always stay at their weight.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be. These foods destroy your body. They contain parasites, worms.
The pork is the hardest meat to digest.
Yeah, it almost is worse than beef. When you get high blood pressure, a doctor doctor never tells you to stop eating chicken. Doesn't even tell you to stop eating beef or red meat. It tells you to stop eating that pork, though. Why is it? Because it raises your blood pressure. All right? I know a man that ate pork. His blood pressure said 180 something. The next day, he didn't eat no pork. He took his blood pressure, was like 104 or something. So this is raising your blood pressure. Heart disease, heart attacks. A lot of these pigs got cancer in them anyway from all the garbage that they eat.
And tell them about the man-made foods like sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes some sugars even got pork in it, some of them. It says, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and a bat. We're not supposed to be eating bats. That's not a bird we're supposed to be eating. All right, a bat is another scavenger. It's basically a bat. Is basically looks like a flying rat. That's all it looks like. You know, and if you look at a bat, it looks like a rat, but it just flies. All right. What else? All fowls that creep going upon all fours shall be an abomination unto you. So you've seen a bird that has 4 legs, we're not supposed to eat that. All right? The lawful birds, it's mentioned the unlawful birds. The lawful birds is basically chicken, turkey, duck is unlawful. Chicken, turkey, and things are in that family. A quails are very small, but they're basically little chickens. A hen is a type of chicken. Even a pigeon is lawful. I'm not saying to eat anyone you see out there. But a real pigeon is actually like a chicken. It eats grains and stuff like that. All right. What's also in the family of a chicken? It's called a peacock. That's also a chicken. I never heard of nobody eating it, but it is lawful. Because a peacock is a chicken. A cock is a chicken. That's the real name of it. It says, yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all 4, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. So there's only one type of insect we could really eat. And what creepers upon all 4s and leap above their feet? It's talking about grasshoppers and so forth, things like that. Even these of them ye shall eat. The locust after its kind. What's a locust? A giant grasshopper. It's like brown. The bald locust was a different type of locust after its kind, meaning it's related. And the beetle after its kind. Most people read the word beetle, they think that means a ladybug. No. When you read up above, it tells you something that leaps. When you look at this up in the Hebrew, it tells you chargol, which means another type of grasshopper. It's not talking about the beetles of today. Because the beetle doesn't leap and have 4 feet and leap. And the grasshopper after its kind. So anything related to these animals we can eat. This is the only type of insect that is lawful to eat. Every other one is unlawful. We're not supposed to eat roaches and all the other stuff. That's madness. Praying mantis. But all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. Water bug and centipede. We're not supposed to be eating that. Chocolate-covered ants, like they do in Asia. 24. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean unto the evening. So even if you touch one of these dead creatures, you're unclean to the evening. All right? So even stepping on the roach, you got to watch it because it's a carcass. And whosoever beareth all of this carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean to the evening. So any of these creeping things or any of these unclean animals, if you bear this carcass, you shall wash your clothes and be unclean to the evening. Let's just say you got a cat or dog and it dies. And you go and you have to bury it. You're unclean into the evening because you picked up a dead, but you have to bury it. You're not going to keep it in your house and let it rot. Obviously, you have to bury it. And whosoever beareth all of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean to the evening. The carcass of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Every one that touches them shall be unclean. So if you touch these unclean creatures, the dead, when they're dead, you're unclean. It's not saying you can't have a dog or a cat. A dog or a cat is unclean to eat. But they're not unclean if they're not dead. They're still alive, right?
It's pets.
Yeah. But you can't go and eat them because they're unclean. And if they die, you're unclean. But you can have them. Some people have pigs in their house, as pets. That's nothing wrong with that because they're not dead.
Smart as animals.
And they're not dead. But when a pig is dead, that's the uncleanness. And whosoever goeth upon his paws, meaning anything with paws, what has paws? Dogs and cats, don't they? Upon all manner of beasts that go on all 4, those are unclean unto you. Whosoever touches their carcass shall be unclean unto the evening. Like I said, this is talking about these animals being dead. All right? You can have a pet cat or dog. It's just that you can't, like they do in Asia, eat them. Or if they die, you can't say, I'm just going to cook them up and eat them and then I'm going to let them go to waste. No. That's not what you do. All right? So I'm going to say shalom. This is part 1. The video is ending. Shalom, shalom.